old expression, when you got supply and demand, price goes up.
Right.
So that's something we gotta look at for 23, 24. I mean, I want to put that out there in advance. That's a possibility. As long as it's the goal of the board to keep the resident rate at the same.
Right.
Well, I think the resident.
We only get 56, 156.
Well, I
get 62 a couple weeks ago.
You've had 60 a couple times. We made it work. I mean, and honestly, some of these groups, pace of play, not good either. And
Well, that's something we have to talk about with these groups, because I know it has come up several times, and I know
unfortunately, Eileen, a lot of those groups at pace of play are the groups that are in-house and have a lot of our own people in them.
Yeah.
How many of the group are residents typically?
The men's league's probably 30 to 40% resident. The other groups, 10 to 20. Like Starbuck has a Starbuck group. I mean, they play River Hall. They came over here. There's 3 or 4 residents playing that. They're sporadic through there. But it's a good problem to have. But I want to make sure that the resident comes first the best we can.
And that's where I was going, because I think we need to continue the resident benefits, because as a resident, and as you guys and gals are residents, we help the golf course out. I think it's only fair that we continue
100%.
to extend that. So.
No, I think that's right.
No argument here.
So we'll hold the resident rate where it's at, and we'll keep going up on the other rates.
I'm not necessarily saying that the resident rate has to hold where it is.
But
I
they
just
should
think
get a
we should,
perk.
exactly. I think we should continue some type of resident program that includes discounted golf, advanced tee times, because of, we put our skin in the game the last 10 years, and
Yeah.
I think we should continue that.
Yeah, no doubt. No qualms with that in the least.
Yeah, I didn't think you did, and that's why I wanted you to clear, because when you mentioned resident, I was thinking, were you talking about maybe changing the resident benefits?
Yeah.
But,
No. As a matter of fact, I'm talking about increasing the benefit.
right, I get it.
I have a question. I don't play golf. My son does. My son called in to make a tee time, and a tee time he wanted to make, they said that it wasn't available, but it was available on the internet. I called and made the reservation for him later because he didn't understand what was going on. I called your place right after him. I said, well, I have the internet up. Your tee time is open. Why can't he play? I don't.
Let me ask you one question. What option did you get on the phone? Did you go option 1 or option 2? Here's why I asked that.
Okay.
Option 1 is a call center. We use a call center. It's 24 hours. It allows for 24-hour reservations. Option 2, direct to the golf shop. I would recommend to all residents to use option 2, because the call center people, for the most part, of a resident calls, they send it to us anyway because they can't give the discount.
Okay.
So
That's what I need to know.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm new at this.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
So, thank
It's
you.
option 2.
Option 2.
Option 2.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, residents, that probably don't know that. I know it, few of us know it, but you talk to most residents, they don't know that it's better to call the pro shop. And some even may think that, they call that number and right away, do you want to, it goes to the other line. I don't know how we could get that across.
I could do an email blast.
We'll put it in John will put it in an email blast.
I think
Now, no guarantees that's going to get read.
No,
I mean, they've been talking about doing these landscape changes for 2 years. And when John started doing them, people acted like they didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
So we'll put it out there, but
I think that's a good idea because, when you call,
Oh, absolutely.
a person would almost think, well, I guess I gotta go this way. I can't bother the people at the pro shop. Pro shop always tells me, call us, we'll take the call. But everybody doesn't know that.
Well, at least if I do the email blast and I put it out and people complain, we can always say, well, we've set it out, if you don't read it or you won't give us your email, I'm not, as I was told, I need to go door to door to tell everyone.
Jeff, isn't it cheaper if we do it, if the pro shop does it? Don't you have to pay them a fee or something?
It's all
for taking the tea time?
It's all part of the point of sale program. It's all tied in. It's a trade. We trade them tea times for it. So it's just, it's a service that comes along with the point of sale program. And it offers us 24, like right now, if you call, you can make a tea time.
Yeah.
It's kind of a good thing. I put everybody out a proposal from TWC. It is, we need a new ice machine. We use ice for the beverage cart. We need a new ice machine.
The one that's up there looks really sad. It looks like it's going to fall
It's
down.
dead, right?
Yeah, it's rusted. It's still working,
Oh.
but it's all rusted out.
And
How old is that?
6 years.
I didn't think it was 10.
Yeah, it's been sitting out for 6 years. That's about it.
Yes, John?
I think you should get one that offers crushed and cubed ice. Since we're not offering cups, I mean,
Touchless.
maybe have a little option.
Anyway. I make a motion to accept this bid to get a new ice machine.
Second.
All in favor?
Are we buying it or leasing it?
We buy it.
We buy it.
Oh, because it says lease.
You get an option. You show an option.
Yeah, there's an option. We're going to buy
We
it.
buy it. The lease is usually a little more expensive.
So,
Does the other one still have any use?
You can give it to John.
I was about to say, could John use it down at the garage? I mean, you're not going to get a trade
Still works.
for it or anything. They're not going to,
No.
yeah, they don't want it or you're not returning it, so.
And I have an ice machine, not a disposable one, but a big ice machine we use for filling up potatoes.
yeah,
Okay.
that'll be good. Yes.
On the other side of that, the famous ice and water machine, someone broke where you put your cup in to push to get water. They broke that plastic piece. TWC's coming out to fix it. They can put filters on it as well, but I don't even know how you do that.
They just had to really jam
Break
it.
it this way, grab it and snap it this way.
That,
Deliver it.
Well, yeah, you surprised me.
anyway, okay.
Okay.
Ice machine and a water option.
Yeah. The one's for like what you cover over some ice and water. The other one's purely for the cart.
You make a motion for this?
We haven't voted yet.
What's the cost of the new ice machine?
The new ice machine is $6,971.85.
That's 10.
Motion is seconded. All in favor, getting a new ice machine?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Okay, done.
That's all I basically had. I mean, we're just, we're super busy. We really appreciate everybody playing. It's great to see the game of golf growing. And one little thing before I go, 11 years ago, we started a junior program here. About 2 years into that, this kid, little moppy-headed kid lived on number 4, came over and joined our junior program. He was a baseball player. Next year, he'll be playing at Western Carolina University on a full Division I scholarship.
Baseball.
Golf. So we turned him into a golfer, and now he's going to play Division I. So a lot of people might know Dalton Payne, if you see him. He's a great kid. He actually helps us with our junior program now.
He's with the kids tonight?
He's with the kids tonight. So,
That's awesome.
Wasn't Claire Stadler one of our golfers?
yeah, yes, Claire Statler played for Bishop Monroe Girls. If you watched Jeopardy last night, I don't know if anybody watched it. She was on there.
And
She won.
She made the semifinals, and she'll be again,
She'll
yeah.
be on there again.
So she won it the last time, so yes.
She's a senior at Yale.
No wonder she won.
Yeah, that's where I got
Well, she's either going to be a microbiologist or she's going to be on SNL. That's what they were
She wants to
telling
be
me.
a stand-up
She
comedian,
wants to be a stand-up, I
but
don't,
she did the microbiology as a fallback.
just in case.
More money in SNL.
Yeah, yes,
I'm just wondering, you were talking about the kid that started in junior golf. I'm wondering if there could be an article about
yes.
this story in the newspaper.
I will be putting that in because we're doing a get-together for him, so I'll have his picture and stuff. Absolutely, because that's a huge accomplishment
Well, and maybe we'll encourage other kids to take
to
it back.
Instead of
participate.
burning down the restrooms, come back.
You could put that a little back.
Yes, a little tagline.
Just a comment about junior golf. Chase is phenomenal up there. He is amazing. I was a high school principal and I see him teaching these kids. He has got so much patience in the way he treats them, and they love him. And it's fun to watch him teach them.
He's a great kid. You know, I remember him when he was 13, and now he's,
Does he have kids of his own?
not yet.
That's probably why.
He, Tom,
His girlfriend is.
so he does that golf, the Golf Coast Challenge. Remember he did that last
Yeah,
year?
he's got his own junior tour to start up.
Junior, yeah, he's on his own little
Now
junior.
he's president of the Southwest.
Well, he started his own. South Florida,
Southwest Florida.
It's different than Southwest Florida. I forget. I got a hat.
Yeah. Look in the mirror and read
Yeah.
about those. But he's the one that writes the articles for the paper every month too.
Yeah.
He's a great young man.
Great to have around there.
Absolutely. We love him.
Thank you, we'll let him know. Anything else, Jeff?
I have nothing else.
Okay. Okay, the update on the common ground landscaping by Juniper. You've all seen the trees on the center median coming in. The long stretch, we took out all the low bushes and put in royal palms and bottle palms and all the sod. What we're trying to do, and again, we've been doing this for 2.5 years, we're talking about it, is to make it uniform throughout the community and cut down on the maintenance. They're doing the cul-de-sacs. The cul-de-sacs will have 1 royal palm, 2 bottle palms, and I have pictures of what's going to be underneath. Muhly grass and bougainvillea, crotons. I'm learning a lot about plants. I really am. And then once they finish the cul-de-sacs, they'll be doing the 4-way stop. The 4-way stop will look the same as the cul-de-sacs. And then we'll start along the main road and then the community center. And again, John said we're going to work on the wall back there. I've had comments from residents. Why are you doing this? Why didn't you tell anyone? Who's paying for it? And I should go door to door and tell everybody because they don't have time to come to meetings, which was interesting. Just let your neighbors know that we're doing this. If anybody questions you, we talked about this 2.5 years ago when we started the committee to do this.
Actually, this started 10 years ago.
10 years ago, but
This started prior to the bond, and we were, Ed Harlan was working, and so this started then, and then the bond and the golf course issues kicked in, and as the CDD decided, you know, this is probably not the best time to spend this money and put more, we're already asking the residents to help on the golf course side, let's not go any further with it. So this thing has been going on
For 10 years.
roughly 10 years.
And we resurrected it 2.5
Yeah.
years ago, and now it's come to fruition, and it's really going to look nice. John's going to add lighting down the center median, just so that you know, along the main road, all those utility boxes, we're going to be putting plants around there to kind of hide them. John's group has cut back all the stuff on the corners so that you can see coming out of your streets. So we've really tried to accomplish a lot landscaping-wise. So Juniper's doing a good job, and we're working with them, and they've been really very helpful. So that's the update on the common ground.
And Eileen, do we have any update on the city light poles? When they're going to stand all those up?
That's Florida Power and Light on CHOA.
Yeah, I met her on.
Do you have any update on that?
Yeah, we're at the bottom of the food chain.
Going to take a year or two?
Maybe. That's the answer we got.
Can we just bury them in the meantime so they don't stick out?
I'm tired of looking at it.
Yeah.
I thought I might give my contact a call and see if they can at least move bodies.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Because it looks crappy.
Yeah.
Well,
Do we have any option?
What they buried or
Bill,
the pine needles.
Yeah.
Bill, do we have any option to take that over, or do we have to lease that from FPL?
Yeah. The person I deal with is not the local person for America Land.
Yeah.
So see if we can shake the tree a little bit. I know Tammy talked to him a couple of weeks ago. They said it's a couple more months at least.
But do we have to lease them from FPL? Can we just say we don't want this lease anymore and buy our own and install our own lights? Because even the lights they've replaced, they're not really very good looking
You want to add
lights.
that to the budget?
Well, do we want lights laying for 6 months?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
All I can say is,
So-
we had a hurricane, that's their excuse, and you got to work with it.
The other thing that I will say, and I don't think just taking over the lights is going to be enough, because I do know that at one point the village wanted us to conform to the lightings and change all the lights within the community. We got around that by saying these aren't ours, they're Florida Power and Light. So it would not only be taking over the lights, I think if we did that, the village would want us to change all the lights. So we have to be careful with how we approach that, because,
The village wanted to gooseneck lights like
Yeah.
we got.
Throughout the-
And that was right after we put the new heads on. We got Florida Power Light do those for nothing.
yeah, but I know if we took it over, we might have that issue with the village where, oh, you want them? Then do
Well,
these.
If you think of it from an aesthetic standpoint, putting a light in that would be closer to sort of the style of the stop sign and our mailboxes would probably look better overall.
Yeah.
Now FPL is not going to do that for us, so
I don't even know how many lights we have. It'd be interesting to know, and,
16, is that what you said?
Or more than that.
16.
oh, 16 is out in the
16,
parking lot.
Just talking about the main entrance.
Man, yeah, going down, yeah, there's, I can't, how many lights are there?
I think there's 97 if I remember.
97. How much we pay per month on each light? It's like 15, 20 bucks?
I don't think it's much more than that. It's minimal.
Are they giving you a discount for one not working now?
No, they're working, they're just laying on the ground.
No,
That's an odd lighting.
It's the new landscape lighting.
Why wouldn't you want to control your own lights? I don't
I agree.
understand.
Well, just the cost, I think that's.
And obligation and liability. There's a statutory scheme for how you can try to avoid liability. Typically, you repair within 60 days, but under the statute, they have 365 days after the cessation of the declaration of emergency in which to replace it. And so there's a statutory mechanism in place.
So this could be a whole year.
It could be,
I'm just quickly reading the statute, yes. But again, if the district were to own and operate the streetlights, then we have certain duties under the statute to avoid liability for any accidents or injury that occur if the streetlight is out. So we have to make sure we can comply with those requirements. We might be able to.
Hey, I'm just saying, there's
Oh,
been
no.
a lot of people making comments about these lights. I know you guys manage them. Of course, I'm smart enough to know that if we wanted to do that, somebody's got to pay for it, and it's going to be us. But what do you want? Do you want lights laying on the ground potentially for a year, or do you want the flexibility to be able to fix things when they break? And maybe something that looks a little better than the crappy lights they're going to replace them with, because they're just going to be that same pole with something else.
Why don't you bring that up at your next
I don't know.
board meeting? The next board meeting is the annual,
It's in April.
April, okay.
Annual meeting's 21st. We don't discuss that business, but
Right.
I'll let the new board discuss that.
Okay. Well, you're still on the board.
John's right.
Yeah, but you're still on.
What more here?
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And again, PL, I was just chatting with Chuck, they may upgrade the lights and poles, but you have to probably brand new lease and different costs. So that's part of the equation.
Those are just fiberglass poles stuck in the ground, they just snap off pretty easy.
Right.
Hollow.
And your pole probably less expensive thing on that thing than a light pole.
Well, Bill, if I'm not mistaken, did they not come in and replace like 3 or 4 I thought were down, and then they kind
No,
of just...
but they came in, there were a couple that were sort of dangerously leaning, not as bad as the one on 18 as you're going out the main drag, but there were some that were bad, they did. I think they fixed one by the pump house.
They did, because it was really dark there for a while. And
Yeah.
I noticed that, like, it still is, there's still a gap there that
Yeah,
gives the light.
but I know they fixed that. Other than that, I think,
But the one on the corner coming in, on the four-way stop, I mean, that's,
yeah. Yeah, but I think when we took the numbers off them and gave them to them about 2 days after the hurricane, and I think there were 9 that we found. There might be a couple that need new glass up there, but we did the poles that were down. I know they had somebody come through here because there's tapes on some of them.
like they wouldn't know which ones to fix.
Let me see if I can stir a pot.
And you're still nudging them? You've been nudging them all along, trying to get them to take action?
I'm like a little bulldog.
Yeah, because that one that's leaning, you could just tell them it's leaning a little bit more, and eventually it's going to fall.
I was thinking it.
Yeah.
Somebody could always just bump it.
Well, is the one at the four-way stop, is it hot? I mean, is
Yeah.
there a live wire in that thing? 'Cause
Yeah, the
They're on
light's
the
on.
ground, yes.
that just,
The light's on at night.
Even the ones out the back exit, back.
But some of them worked wrong when they were down. In fact, the one at Wyndham, the father of the people, they covered it up with cardboard, so they finally broke the mold up.
Did you know that? No. Yeah, the lights are on.
Nice.
They're laying on the ground, they're marked.
Can I ask Tony a question?
No. Yes. I'm sorry.
What would you recommend? I mean, like, you hear the FPL side, this sounds like a nightmare to me. I mean, just me, I don't live in here. I just work here, as the saying goes. But, I mean, it sounds like a nightmare. You have these poles on the ground, they're electrified, and God knows when FPL is going to come out. Wouldn't the community want to own those lights?
I don't know, it's a policy decision, the cost, the expense, because if you want to have upgraded poles and lights, that's expensive all, I mean, there's an expense associated with that. And then the maintenance of it, sometimes after a period of time, the truck has experience too, they become expensive to maintain.
Well, I mean, it's part of the Lennar way, to be honest with you. I mean, even today, Wild Blue, those are all FPL lights through there, all the lease power maintenance agreements, and they're all leaning. I went through there today, there's a ton of them in there leaning, so.
Well, ours are down with exposed hot
Well, I
wire.
think that's something that might need to be brought to CFPL's attention.
I don't know that for a fact.
Well, I know that for a fact. These lights out here are working.
The
They're
ones
lit
that are
up.
working, I don't know if there's a fuse or what. Like I say, I've come to look into it, and I will tell you your next meeting.
No, I see.
I'll let Eileen know before that if I get an answer.
And if you get an answer, I'll get it to Chuck, and Chuck will get it out to everybody.
Yeah, maintenance. Tell them we're concerned about our kids maybe sticking their hand in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, that that's a matter to bring to FPL's attention.
Absolutely.
These lights are on the ground, they're electrified, they're live.
And all the glass is broken.
I think that's something, photographs, that kind of attention, that kind of matter might get your attention, the liability.
Like a well-written letter, putting them on formal notice from the HOA or our legal team.
No, an email with photographs.
Yeah. We'll have Bill Reynolds send pictures and contact them.
Options when you call FPL, is there a wire down?
Yes, there is.
Yes, lots of them.
Remember, FPL stands for frequent power loss.
I'm going to vote.
Sorry, yeah. I've said it many
I'm
times.
going to throw your name out there.
Are some of those lights that are down near transformers? Because the power company has to maintain a transformer. The
I don't even know where.
transformer is connected to your power lines and your light poles.
Yeah, but they're all underground, so I don't know.
Usually these poles are attached to a handhold, not necessarily a
Yeah.
transformer.
My experience with FPL, they came to my neighborhood, put the power underground, they de-energized the old line, and they left it in my backyard. I could have cut it and brought it in and got recycled for copper.
Well,
But
we
instead,
have-
I took a bunch of pictures and sent it to the guys. 2 days later, my wife says, I got some guys out here removing this cable. So I think photographs and that issue about the live wire, that's what gets their attention.
Pressure.
And you may want to copy the Public Service Commission in Florida,
Yeah, if you don't.
because they have jurisdiction over FPL.
No, I've got another way to get it to them.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Well,
by the
you
way,
were-
one of
I
the
go through City Hall.
Yeah, but one of the PSC members is, her mom happens to be the president of the Florida Senate. So if you want to get attention, the Public Service Commission, I think would be helpful too.
Let's see if we can shake them up.
Okay.
Okay. All right, the next is the development order for the commercial parcel, Corkscrew Pines. That's where the proposed gas station is going. Can I discuss this?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. After the last meeting, I was contacted by the current owner of the property. He has, I'll just go through here. Okay. He's finding a solution for this. He has pulled the permit and has spoken and has canceled the contract with 7-Eleven. So there will not be a gas station, there will not be a convenience store, there will not be a car wash back there. Yes. Yes. Okay, so with that being said, no, he has offered if the CDD would like to purchase the one lot, if the CDD would like to purchase the entire property. His other thing is he is going to the village on March 14th to change the zoning orders for that piece of property. And in conversations with him, I mean, I think he's looking for a storage unit, a medical office, an office building, something that will not negatively impact the community. And I think what he's looking for us to say, if he says, I'm putting a medical office building here, that we're not going to come back and say, no, we don't want that. So he's giving us options of what he's going to do. I do believe, I mean, interesting, we left here at around noontime that day, and he called me about 2 o'clock that afternoon. I think with the ideas coming up that it was so close to the school for selling alcohol and tobacco and all the other things that came up, he's very reasonable. I don't think 7-Eleven was pleased, but you know, so, and until I had all the documentation and information from this gentleman, I wasn't really at liberty to discuss it openly. But they have pulled they are not going to put a gas station, car wash, and convenience store there. So,
Awesome.
so that worked out well. Now, with that, Tony has...
Yeah, I think what I would suggest is that if he was to send us the document where he indicated he would do that from the village.
Okay.
Sometimes the village's website for looking for development order applications is not the friendliest.
Okay.
In my experience at least. So I would ask him for that confirmation because I think it was set for March 14th.
Yes.
And their agenda does not come out until March 7th.
Okay.
So if you can ask him for that verification. And so that's the immediate, if he does it immediately. In the future, it doesn't necessarily preclude any subsequent person from redeveloping that site.
Right. So, but his issue, he wants to work with us. And I think part of it is I think he's willing to sell the property. We can't take a loan on.
Well, you can borrow, but you cannot put a mortgage on the property.
Right.
We can borrow with a maturity of up to 5 years.
But I'm not sure we really want to buy the property.
What you want to sell it for?
The one lot was, my contract, he's willing to sell it for $1.75 million.
No.
And
All in favor?
and all 6 acres for $2.9 million. So it would be nice if the village bought it and put a park there.
It would be. That's not going to happen.
No. But, so that's where we are with that, so.
Tax revenue out of their square inch.
What was that?
I said they want tax revenue out of every square inch of this community.
Yeah, I think they've got it.
Not Stony Brook, but Estero.
Estero. So that's where we are with that. So I just wanted to update you. I will continue to work with this gentleman. I'll get the documentation.
That's great.
And I do know that 7-Eleven was not happy with him.
Yeah, and I guess, Madam Chair, what I would suggest that if at the last minute there was to be a change of heart the other way back,
Yeah.
that, the chair would be authorized to, with the manager or council to write letters.
Oh, absolutely.
Just to make sure.
So, but I plan to go up to the meeting on the 14th. Just to be there. So that was positive news. Yes. Okay. That's all I have for that. Jeff,
Yes, ma'am.
early payoff of the bond.
Okay, so I've brought this up a couple times before. Currently if you look at our financials, we have one payment put in reserve, which would allow us to pay off the section B of the bond, which is a non-resident section, the golf course section on 2027. I would like to put forth to you guys that you go ahead and put another one back, and that would allow us to pay it off in 2026. The reason being is we will need to, and I think must, regrass the golf course at some point, as well as major bridge repair and finish some of the cart paths, if not all of the cart paths, on the golf course. So we'll need to get a bank loan to do that, and it would be solely the responsibility of the golf course. Nothing to do with the residents, solely the responsibility of the golf course. So I think step one in the process is putting a payment back. And then step two would be for us to work together, myself and John with you guys, on all the puts and takes of what needs to happen as far as, you know, the cost of grassing, the cost of cart paths, the cost of whatever else might be involved.
And the bridges. And Jeff, some of the things we talked about were like on 14, in front of the green there, it's always wet. What can we do? I mean, those are repairs that we would do at that point. That pond that we always have on 18 where I was going to open the swing club, you know, raising that.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
All right, what I would ask John of you, because we can't do this as a group, and you guys know a lot about golf and golf courses, maybe take an afternoon and go around with John and say, yeah, this should be included in this should be included. Why don't we take this out? And then get your notes together, bring them to a meeting, and then John, you can start seeing if we can get somebody out just to give us an idea. I mean, it's going to be a couple, I don't think we can go to a company in April and say we want you to start in June.
No, we'll need to book out a couple years in advance.
Right, so that's why I'm saying if you can get together with both Phils and, you know, just drive around and just see what you think, and while you're out there playing, just see what we can do.
I mean, yeah, 'cause
You have to drive separately.
10 years
Yeah,
ago,
oh, no,
maybe 8 years ago.
one will go with John one day, and one will go with John another day. No, they're
I won't
not.
ride in a car or a car with Phil anymore.
But about 8 years ago, the bridges were $250,000 to
Right.
replace, right? So,
All of them.
So I think that, you know, if each one of you do your notes and then bring them back.
and I wanted to say that that's going to be the time to make any changes that need to be made,
Well, that's why,
including the irrigation system.
yeah, well, that's why I'm asking, you know, these
Are we
two.
talking full-on renovation, or are we
Yes.
talking, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the time to change the shape of anything, or if there's, you know, maybe reposition the tees on two more towards the left. Something like that, you know what I mean?
When's the last time we did it? How many years ago?
So we regrassed,
Somewhere 2010.
the greens were 2010, the fairways were 2011 in summer, and the bag nine fairways were 2012. So in the plan that we would like to put in place, we would close, say, May 1st of 2026, and reopen sometime early November 2026, hopefully, if, you know, God willing. Okay, late November, okay.
Let's get that out there.
But you know, but it secures the golf course for 20 to 25 years.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's got to be done, because if we don't, we're going to pay for it in segments, and it's going to be more expensive.
And we would do the cutting green then, too.
Everything gets ripped up, burnt out, ripped up.
The land bridge on 13, you know, making that two bunkers instead of the one massive one, and have like a nice walk down. They can redesign that. Do you want to redesign that green? It's so narrow, you know what I mean? That green could use some depth.
And moving the tee boxes over on 17, so there's more.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. There's, you know, some issues, I think. I think the tees on two should definitely get just repositioned. You don't even necessarily have to move them, just kind of realign them a little bit.
That's why I think if you spend time with each one of them and then look at the notes and then do it again, it's not going to be just a one afternoon thing, but if I can ask you two to work with John to do that, because I think you two have more of a knowledge of what needs to be done. I know I get the law. So.
I worked with Gordy Lewis years ago.
Okay.
Before we did the changes.
I'm sorry, so much.
Yeah. I get John, not Gordy.
Yeah, so like I said, that would be the time.
So I think we should start sooner than later looking at this and doing that, so, over the next few meetings, if you guys could update and say, well, we did the front 9, and this is, and then, one Phil might say, no, I didn't like that, and, let's work together and bring our ideas together.
And to the residents, realize when we do it, the golf course would be closed for 7 months. So your backyard would be under construction.
Working later hours.
Well, I think we start talking about it now. If we talk about it enough now, maybe people will know that that's going to happen.
And just so everybody knows, this is a necessary thing. This isn't
100%.
looking to put new grass out. Every 10 to 12 years, all the golf courses in South Florida need to regrass. So
It's part of it. This is, because a lot of the rough is still older grasses, original.
Yeah, we didn't do the rough, we just did the fairways.
No, we did partial rough in some areas, kind of blended in, but no.
And we brought the fairways in.
Yeah, 6, remember 6, that was a big area, had that bunker right there, or that area, that fairway went way out, we regressed that.
But as Phil was saying, it should be done every 10 to 11
Yeah,
years.
10 to 15 years,
14, 15
absolutely.
years, so.
It's been a while, same thing with the common ground.
Part of the reason, everybody remembers 2021, 22, when we lost part of the greens on the edges.
Yeah.
Part of that turned out to be, just like John had said, the, pulling the water out, making sure that, because the water was just sitting there. Well, the greens need to be redone to USGA specs. Now, when they did the greens in 2010, they did them what's called a scrape. You scrape, till scrape. Burn them out, scrape them off, and put it
just
right
the
there.
budget way.
Top 4 inches of the grass mix.
It's an inexpensive way to do it. It costs $300,000, and it's a quick fix. It's a Band-Aid. But we're at the point where the Band-Aid's about to bust, and I don't want to wind up, we've got all this positive momentum, positiveness about the golf course, positive about the conditions, all the good things that are happening. I want us to remain progressive and making sure it's the best.
So,
If you're
Jeff,
gonna close down also a bunch, you're not gonna close like 9 holes and 9 holes.
No, it's too expensive in the mobilization. They'll want to do it together, and John can speak to that.
And the only reason that is